What's going on, people? Welcome to the live match reaction. Villa 2, Palace 2. Sorry about the delayed start. We're here with AJ. As always, the lines will be open as well. A big point away from home. Lots to discuss. Justin Devenny on the score sheet, as well as Ismail Assar. Some of the goals that we've conceded as well. But overall, I am happy. We'll talk about the performance in detail, as well as opening up the lines where you can join in and have your say. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. AJ, a point away from home with all the injuries that we have. Are you happy, or would you have liked more? Of course, everyone would like more, but
I think I'm a bit indifferent. I think when that Devenny goal went in, and we were just defending our asses off. I'll be honest, I started to believe. But before the game, and you're right, considering your injuries and the performance, that's enough for me for now. It's something to build on. There were so many positives out of the game today, which we'll obviously get onto as the show goes on. But I'm happy with it. I felt like we could have, the way we were playing and the way things were playing out, I thought we could have did the little sneaky there and stole some points there. But overall, I'm happy, man. Before the game, I thought we were in dire trouble, and Villa, in terms of form and the squad that they've got at their disposal in terms of depth, is outrageous and compared to us. So I'm happy with it, man.
Yeah. And I mean, let's start off with the lineup. Devenny started. That was a shock to me because of what Glasner's been saying about some of the players that's coming back from injury. Lerma was meant to be fit. Well, he was fit. Decore should be able to start the game. And I thought it might be, likes of Hughes and Decore as it was in midfield. But I was expecting maybe not Devenny in that, well, I would say more advanced role, but it was a slight change in the system because it seemed more like a flat 3 rather than a flat 2, and Devenny was pushing out wide. But when you saw the lineup, what do you think about it?
When it came out, I was more relieved, because obviously we're talking about a lot of these players coming back from injury and a stronger squad on paper for us. And I'll be honest, even at that point, I didn't really have much hope of us getting anything out of the game. But with the Devenny situation, obviously it paid off today, more than I definitely anticipated. But the boy played really, really well in his debut. And I think it just shows with the manager that he will continue to give you that chance if you continue to perform the way he's been doing in the past 2 games. So I'm happy with it. I was surprised. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I think I was a bit surprised that he continued to do that, considering the players he brought back into the squad. And I thought the formation, he would have changed up a little bit more, but it worked, man. I mean, the counter was brilliant today. So in the end, hindsight's a crazy thing, but the way it sort of started out and the way it sort of played out towards the end, I can't be wrong. And the fact that he is prioritizing paying the player like Devenny over the likes of a Schlupp makes me happy. So
yeah,
I'll take it today.
And I think that's the biggest thing about it, because Devenny, no one really expected him, or he wasn't anyways in the conversations to be starting in that midfield as much. We kind of thought, well, if the players are back in midfield, then I think Larsen's going to go with the more experienced option. But that's now 2 games that Devenny has started. And in both of those games, AJ, not has he not looked out of place, but he looks like a serious player to have in our squad going forward. And I think that's the most positive out of it. Of course, he scored a goal today, but he's only played 2 Premier League games. He started 2 Premier League games. Of course, he got called up to the Ireland squad as well, which was massive for him. But it looks like he's been playing in the Premier League for a while. And he's played against Fulham, which they've got, experience of Premier League players, and then away at home against Villa, who's competing in the Champions League. And he not only did he score a goal, but I just like everything about his performance. I just like the way he reads the game, the way he takes on instructions, because yes, we can look at the tactical ability of players and we can say, oh, this player he's technically gifted. However, when it comes to younger players, at times they can have that technical ability, but when it comes to instructions and playing at a professional level at the highest game, they might, struggle. They might have to adapt to what's being asked of them. But Devenny, the thing that stands out to me the most is the fact that he doesn't have that phase yet. We haven't seen that phase with Devenny yet. In both of these last 2 games, it seems like he's ready, and he has had first team experience, but not at the Premier League level, or not at a level at this regards. But going forwards with Devenny, I mean, apart from the goal, it's looking positive, ain't it? Surely.
Definitely. It's quite funny because with Devenny, out of the players and the youth players that we've discussed on this channel, and I'm pretty sure fans on various different platforms, and even speaking to fans on match days, I'll be honest, Devenny wasn't the one on my list. Like, I was aware he was there, and I was aware he was training with the first team, but I was very surprised because obviously Agbogne is the one that we're looking at, Corpa. Those kind of players were the ones that everyone was a little bit more excited about and kind of looking at. But fair play to the guy, man. He's come into the team and he has grabbed that opportunity with both hands, and he is just riding with it. And like you said, he looks like he's been doing this thing for years. I think, when we go back to the Fulham game, he didn't have an opportunity to score. Obviously, he hit wide. And today he's gone again, and it was a very, very good goal. Because at one point I thought it was that was a missed opportunity, and he just sort of comes in, and I literally leaped out of my chair as that goal went in. So that boy's got a bright future if he stays consistent. He stays, on the right path. Fingers crossed for him as well. And it's quite interesting the fact that he's had a crazy couple of weeks. Like he's gone straight into the first team squad without a substitute appearance. He's literally started a game for us against Premier League opposition. He's then gone into international duty straight away, and then he's obviously come into the game today and scored a goal. And he looks like the type of kid that isn't fazed by it as well. He looks like he just takes it in his stride. So maybe that falls down to obviously what kind of kid and what kind of man he's going to become. But also you got to give credit to, I would even say, the squad and the manager, because he's taken a risk on him and it's paid off.
Yeah, and he has paid off. He's been called upon when he was required. And he hasn't really had that bedding in period, for example, coming off the bench or so. He's, it's been Devenny, we need you against Fulham, come in, and then all right, he's into the side, and then against Villa, same thing again. He hasn't really had time to really process everything, and goes credit to the management, because we have been talking about youth players. He is one of those youth players who finally, we've been able to see start 2 Premier League games, and of course, he has played, football elsewhere. However, he's been training with the academy, so it's good to see one of the academy products still be there and abouts and perform and score in the Premier League away from home and help us get the point today. But look, the lines are open, as you can see on the message right at the bottom of the screen. If you do want to call in, just feel free to click on the pinned comment. There's a lot of callers already that's called in, and if you do enjoy the show, all I ask for is to make sure to drop a like, as it helps us out massively, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Let's start it off. Let's not keep everyone waiting with Patrick.
Hey guys.
Point away from home against Villa. Happy?
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's not happy with this, you need to take a Quaalude. I mean, it was a really good performance, but I want to point out the performance of Sarr. He ran tirelessly. He's got the natural pace. He could have scored a couple today on the counter, and he did the work defensively, him and Mateta. And I think that's the key. Really, there's nothing negative to say about anything. I didn't think Will Hughes had 80 minutes in him. That dude played what, 85 minutes before he was subbed off? Not almost 90. That's good performance all the way around. I mean, corners are corners. We just struggled defending them. And we gave up, what was 11 or 12 of them they had today. So no complaints from me. I just got to get healthy and go on from there. I do have a question, because I'm not familiar very well with the Palace setup in terms of the academy and things like that. Is this Devenny? Is that his name? Is he a 10 or is he a regular midfield? What is his actual natural position?
Well, I thought that he would be more playing in midfield for Palace, but then again, even today, I don't know if he was as advanced at times. With Sarr, he was more closer to Mateta, but Devenny was kind of still playing in midfield. So some people did say before the game where it could be a 3-5-2, and I was like, I still don't know if Glasner would change the system, because it has worked well against Villa. playing, the two number 10s behind the striker. However, it's not even a system change. It was like a slight tweak with Devenny sitting a bit more back and then targeting the fullback. But you mentioned Sarr there. And I'll be honest, before the game, I was looking at Sarr today, looking at the injuries that we have, looking at Sarr and saying, hopefully this is the game where you perform. Because the last 2 games, I mean, against Wolves, he had a few chances, he missed it. But today, from the first minute to the last minute, the energy levels were there. And also the production with the goal as well. That was brilliant from him.
Well, I think the key with Palace and until everybody comes back, that effort should be there every game. And you can say that about any athlete in any sport. But especially as shorthanded as we are, I mean, I know in Mateta, I don't understand people may not like his finishing this year, whatever. Tell me how much service he's actually gotten. I mean, he's got 3 goals in the Premier League season. Hold up play was terrific. He was setting, as somebody's calling me while I'm on YouTube. Sorry, guys. But I mean that kind of effort. I mean, it's just terrific all the way around. I mean, the hold up play. He's a lot of times he's getting the ball on the wing and setting up opportunities for other people. And Munoz, I swear to God, that guy's got a motor that just doesn't quit when he's healthy. Back and forth. Usually I have a bunch of comments, nothing to say, just terrific performance, 100%. So onward to what would it be? Newcastle next week.
Yeah.
Real quick at home. Tell me real quick, is Kamada available for that game? And I'm going to be sarcastic. Oh no,
no, he's suspended for free. He's got a 3-game suspension. Based on what you said, Patrick, there was 2 things that picked up on. So the first bit, Mateta. So the beautiful thing that Mateta did so well and worked with our gameplay today, as far as I'm concerned, was you mentioned it, the hold up play. So he kept winning the ball in terms of when the ball came out for goal kicks and whatever, which enabled the runners to sort of overtake him. And then essentially that's where all of our chances came from. I thought his hold up play today was 10 out of 10. Like
he sacrificed his game to bring others into play. And it works. And I think it was really, really brilliant. Right. And that's a team that currently we have on the pitch that doesn't have a lot of pace. It's basically Sarr and whoever's trailing on that. But to continue to do that, I mean, you're asking him, they ask him to do a lot, and he comes through to me. And really nobody should get on here after me and question any of that. I think we're better than we are. I think when we get the players back, there might be, if Sarr keeps playing as hard as he is, and that's what you want your players to do. You want them to all the selection headache. I still like to see a little tweak to the system, because I don't think Nketiah is as bad as people want to make it to be. I just think he's playing out of position. So I don't know how you would fit everybody in. I think he could play the left-sided 10 because he cuts it on his right. But I just think he's out of position. And some players can maybe grow into that. It looks like Sarr is, because he should have more than 1 goal this year. He should have a few. On
the Sarr thing, from my understanding, Ismaila Sarr is a confidence player. So from what all previous managers have said about him, is he's not the kind of person that's just going to sit in a changing room and he's just going to motivate himself.
Right.
He would thrive under like a Mourinho-esque kind of manager that will put his arm around his shoulder and say, "You're the best player in the world." He may not know that. He might, in the back of his mind, think that's a whole of crap. But what he will do is that apparently that's how he operates. That's how you get the best out of him. And apparently that's from when he was at Watford, Marseille, I think. Younger. And he's a confidence player. So I can only assume Glasner's probably started to figure that out. And maybe just said to him, "Look, I need to rely on you to make creative opportunities," and I think that's paid off today.
He's had some opportunities coming off the bench in prior games where he's just missing a goal by hitting the post, double saves. I mean, it's kind of been that kind of year for us, bad luck. But this, getting a point at not Liverpool, I'm sorry, getting a point at Villa, that's with a short-handed squad, that's a good accomplishment there. I mean, that no one should complain. And I'm usually not this positive, but nobody should complain about anything today. It was a good performance. Let's go forward, and let me get off here so you guys can get other people on. So take care, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, bro.
if you want to call into the show like Patrick and a few others who are waiting behind the scene, you can click on the pinned comment in the comment section down below. And if you're new here, subscribe and leave a like, please, as well. Let's bring on Henry next. Henry, 2-2. It was a crazy game. Some people thought it might be a bit dull and boring, with Palace lacking attackers and Villa also having a few injuries, but it was a total opposite. It was like end to end, created chances. Maybe we could have scored more. Maybe we could have conceded more as well. But in the end, we come out with a point. Are you happy like Patrick?
Patrick? Yeah. Well, it's never dull and boring, first and foremost, when it comes to Palace. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm actually really happy because I thought we played really well, really well. Having said, I mean, yeah, I couldn't really watch it, so I listened to it mostly on the Palace TV app but it sounded like we were really good. You know, we put in a really solid shift against a very, you know, Aston Villa is a very hard team to play, especially at home. But, you know, it sounds like that we were really threatening on the counter-attack. You know, I think we can see that with the goals that I saw the highlights, and that the goal that Sarr scored, the first one, I love the way that we were sort of really incisive with our passing, and we managed to carve through them. And Sarr was, you know, just clinical in front of goal, which I think that was sort of the element he was missing in previous weeks, was that when he was in front of goal, he was just didn't have his shooting boots on. But today, he looked a lot better in that department for sure. I have to say, Devenny, this guy, I'm really liking the look of this guy. I have to say, like, he is really impressing me. He deserves huge props because, I mean, no one really saw like his emergence really. Like, if you'd have told us before the Fulham game that he would play that game, do quite a good job, and then return for this one, play that well, score what could have been the winning goal, like, I don't think many people would have believed that. It is a bit disappointing not to win, but at the end of the day, it's a sign of progress that we were able to frustrate a team like Aston Villa. And Henderson, I mean, what a performance from Henderson. You know, the guy has come in for a lot of criticism, and I'm never shy to criticise him, to be honest. But you've got to give him credit when it's due. And that was a very strong hand to deny. Was it McGinn from the penalty?
No, Tielemans, yeah.
Tielemans, yeah.
Tielemans, okay. So, and then it's just a shame because the way that we broke and scored that goal, like, it would have been really almost a sort of comical way to win it if that ended up being the goal that won it. But no, I think we have to remember that, you know, this is a team without our most crucial players right now. You know, we've got Wharton missing, we've got Eze missing. So I think maybe the international break came at the right time. And I think we're starting to see a team that Glasner is moulding and shaping to be one that can actually compete to a good level, you know, to a high level. And I think, I really hope that, and I believe we can build on this and get a win against Fulham, by the way. But I think if we don't,
Newcastle, yeah.
Newcastle.
Yeah. Fulham lost today to Wolves.
We just played Fulham the last home game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe we can build on this and get a win or two, or maybe a win or a draw. But if we don't, I still think that he deserves to keep his job, because I can see what he's building, and I think we just need to afford him that time, as long as it doesn't get ridiculously bad and we're actually fearing for our Premier League status. I think I think given that we were so like riding so high at the end of last season, and you could see everyone thought, right, this guy can take us places, and to sort of just abandon that way of thinking because of the results that we've had. I think the majority of the games have been like the players need to take more of the responsibility than the manager. I mean, I'm not saying Glasner's been faultless. They've been, far from it. Sometimes his decisions are a bit confusing, but I don't think really when you look at it like overall, I don't really think we can have too many complaints from today's game or in general, to be honest.
Yeah,
Henry, I got one question actually. It's just dawned on me.
Yeah.
So I agree with everything you said, especially about Devenny, right? What do we do next week when Ebbs is fit? What do we do with Devenny? Do we put him back on the bench? Do we let him start and then ease Ebbs back in? Because somebody's getting sacrificed in that starting 11.
That is a good question, and that is what Mr. Glasner is paid to do.
And I guess we'll be talking about it as well. That's going to be like the big question.
Sorry, I know that seems like I'm really sitting on the fence there. If it was me, right? If you're just asking me, I would say that we should. You know what? I would be. I think I would be keeping Devenny there, because I think that, I mean, obviously Eze is the better player. There's no doubt about that. But I think like you say, it is important to ease him back in, Eze. And I think if we were to start him and he got injured again, then it would be really detrimental. And then obviously people would ask questions and say, oh, why did you start him? He's just coming back from an injury, blah, blah, blah. I think if Devenny, as long as he continues this level of performance, then I think we can. I'm not saying start him from this game forward all the time. Like, I think when Ebbs gets back to full fitness, then he'll probably dislodge Devenny. But
yeah, no, I think Eze starts. I'll be honest. I do think Eze starts, but it's a good thing to have anyways. The fact that Eze can come back into the lineup, and then we got someone like Devenny who we can rely on if things need to change, because Devenny wasn't really an option when we were struggling going forward. So with Nketiah struggling, and even today, for example, with Decore got subbed off on the 60th minute. That was no coincidence. It was clear and obvious. As soon as it hit 60, he had to be subbed off. So some of these plays, even with Eze, it might be a case that he can't play the full 90 minutes next week. But the good thing is, if he can play 60 minutes or so, then you bring in Devenny. So I think Devenny starts, but eventually, I think Eze starts, but eventually Devenny will come into the game against Newcastle.
Just two more things before Mateta, he had a really strong game today, but I noticed that from listening that he nearly got injured towards the end of the game. Are we worried that if we lose Mateta, like, what do we do? Because we don't really have a natural replacement for him.
Yeah,
Eddie.
Well, I guess
Eddie will probably be back in by then. Yeah. Hopefully.
Let's just hope that.
And my second question is actually not really football related. I'm just noticing your background there, AJ. Where are you? It seems like you're on like a high up building or something.
What behind me?
It's changing life. Yeah.
I just had a bit of a, what's the word? Remodeling in the house.
Yeah.
This is what happens on international breaks in my house.
You're about to shoot a music video or something, like with the necklace and everything. And
this is what happens when you you have boring international breaks. You build things and then you end up with backgrounds like this, mate.
It looks nice.
Yeah, trust me.
I'm not even finished it. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But no, I think
good question that for me.
Yeah.
But just to summarize, we need to be positive, because if we play like that against Newcastle, I know Newcastle are a very strong team as well, but we're at home. Football's a funny game. There's no reason why we cannot win that game. No reason at all. So yeah. Up the
Yeah,
Palace.
let's see. Henry, look, thanks for coming on. Hopefully, we'll catch up with you after Newcastle game.
Cheers.
All right, in a bit, Henry.
That was Henry having his say. If you do want to call into the show live, you can also click on the pinned comment. We're going to go through the guests as quickly as possible. If you're enjoying the stream, please leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, join in to talk about Devenny, Henderson. There's still a lot of players. I still want to talk about Decore as well. He quietly, maybe not so, in my opinion, I think he's kind of gone under the radar potentially today. But I think Decore had a fantastic game, even for our second goal that Devenny scored with his pass and being composed, etc. I think Decore is fantastic. Look, there's a lot of positives to talk about. That's the main thing out of today. But if you have any negatives, feel free as well. Have both sides of the story. Bollocks. 2-2. I feel like your name is only appropriate when Palace play bad, which is about 80% of the time. But today, today it wasn't quite bollocks. It was
maybe it wasn't the dog's bollocks, but it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad, unless you.
I think the only negatives I could say were like defensively we look a bit open sometimes when they were countering our counters. It was about any time I thought they were going to score until the ref gave them the penalty after the clear and obvious error he made by, what has it happened? Hughes basically just grazing someone's sock. So obviously that's definitely high up enough to be overturned and given as a penalty. But and then when Henderson saved it, I thought he had it. It almost looks easy the way he did it. I thought he must have come off his line too early. So I thought that'd be the next thing he tried to look for, but it wasn't. And it reminded me about that, Watford Leicester one, where Knockhart dived, got the penalty, and then went up the other end, and Watford scored in a playoff. I think it was Devenny scored in the semi-final for them. It was an amazing game. It was a bit like that feeling when Devenny scored, because if Villa had scored again, another goal late just before half time, we were in trouble. But no, we played very well. Every player on there put in a great shift. And I think Devenny plays so maturely, wasn't wound up by McGinn for that when he kicked the ball away, or he took the free kick quickly, sorry. And he tried to force the ref into giving Devenny a card. He just was almost telling McGinn, like, I'm not scared of you, grow up type thing. And that's a changing point. Not long after that, the referee got a little bit better. And then McGinn came off, which said a lot because Devenny did well. A lot of it is an effective press, like someone just said in the comments. It's like when Gallagher goes up there and he was pressing all the time, or like a MacArthur running around like a blue ass fly, and that makes a difference to our whole game. It also helped that Villa's starting 11 wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be, and they're particularly flimsy down the flanks. But yeah.
Then again,
I think that's partly to go with you.
Sorry, AJ.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, I think we have to take into consideration with Villa is they've got Juventus in 3 days, and they're sitting top of the Champions League group. So I'm thinking maybe Emery's sort of thinking about what he's going to do with that element of things. I'm convinced I reckon he was convinced they would have been up by a certain period in that game, and he would have been able to make those changes freely to see the game out, because he was panicking. Like towards the end, he was panicking. Like, and I'll be honest, me watching the game, I was panicking.
Yeah.
Like that was not easy for my heart, to be fair, to be watching that game. And another thing is actually, it's funny you mentioned the Watford Leicester game from that year. Do you remember who they went on to play in the playoffs?
In
the finals.
Crystal Palace. I know I had a Watford fan tell me that they weren't allowed to get promoted that year because they were bending the loan rules with that was it Granada they were twin or something like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the team exactly. Lazy, if I didn't want us going up, it's like no, you just lost because of your mate Wilf. Yeah, so no, but I think I was much more impressed with him, and it was good that we didn't show him any respect. He's ended a few hoodoos now. Like we've beaten Spurs for the first time in a long time. We took a point off Chelsea. Admittedly, we were pretty shit that day, but we still got the point at Stamford Bridge. And now we're doing things at Villa Park for the first time in a while. I think that was the key. We got the early goal. We didn't show any respect. The only thing that frustrated me was like the Wolves game. We could have killed it off with slightly more intelligent passes in the final third. No one seems to want to give it to Munoz when he's always in a good position. And he's just like to square it as he used to shoot. So I don't know what it is, but so many times we're 3-on-1 or 3-on-2, and the forward puts the pass slightly behind the other player or chooses the wrong decision. But if we get that right, then we're going to be fine this season and we'll start creeping up the league again.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Look, we're still in relegation zone technically, but the when I'm looking at the chat, of course, there's going to be some people who are upset, but the general sense right now is that if we continue playing like this, then it's not like we should be, and we should be much higher up the table come end of the season. I think that's the general feel. Of course, we need to still sign a few players, and the January window is going to be massive. And Glazer spoke about that as well. But that's the biggest positive out of this. It's not all doom and gloom. There is something to build on, and it has pretty much been the case for the majority of the games. But of course, now we have injuries. It doesn't really help the situation. But look, you did mention the Villa squad wasn't the strongest 11. However, it was still fairly strong. You take off Matson, you bring on Digne. You take off their right back, you bring on Matty Cash. Duran's coming off the bench. You look at Palace's bench compared to their one, we're bringing on Jeffrey Schlupp for Justin Devenny, for a youngster. So you can even look at our starting 11 compared to our bench, and it's not there. So I think with the squad that we had, I'm very proud of the players, especially how we ended the last international break against Forest. I think that was more hopeful. At times we hit the post. Yes, Nketiah hit the post against Forest, and we had like few opportunities with Eze, etc. But there wasn't real patterns of play. However, in this game, we saw something. We had a game plan. We executed it pretty well. Apart from maybe the one defensive error from Lacroix, which apart from that, he was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, there is something to build on. But look, Bollocks, great talking to you. Hopefully against Newcastle, we get those 3 points. But we should at some point anyways. Another win hopefully is coming down the line.
It's all right. Thank you, lads. Take it easy. Cheerio. All right.
What did he say? I didn't hear it.
Take care.
Oh, he said take care. Okay, I didn't hear it. It cut out for me. Look, let's go over to the next guest. There's Alex and Tim. I'll bring on Tim next as well. Alex, you're doing a watch along?
Yeah, if you want to bring Tim with me, that would be okay too.
Yeah, let's get two birds in one stone.
Yeah,
Tim,
I mean, we watched the game. It was something.
Yeah, you watched the game together, so I might as well get both of you on together before we bring on Jack. By the way, if you do want to call into the show, feel free to click on the pinned comment. How was it? How was it from your perspective, watching it online? There's a buzzing sound, by the way. Is that from Tim, maybe? I think it might be from Tim.
Let me mute myself.
Somebody's got to turn their vacuum off.
Yeah, from Tim. It's not you. It's not you, Alex. You can talk. It was Tim's mic. Maybe plug it in and out, Tim, whilst Alex is talking.
Sorry.
Yeah, Alex, 2-2. You done a watch along. Thank you to both of you. I'll watch it back as well. But how was it? Great. How was it from your perspective?
So, a few things that I don't think people have mentioned. First off, Lacroix had about 2 or 3, and I want to say that Tim was just right on it, that like he might be our player of the season, which is to me insanity, because like first off, our defense, while it is okay, certainly we gave up 2 goals today. They had plenty of chances, but just a few of the recovery challenges that he made today were miraculous. There was 2 I can remember, and that was great. I think Takori might have actually spurred on both goals. If I don't remember if he cut off the pass that went and then started the break to Mateta, and Mateta got it to Sarr, but I thought he was crucial as well. And so I don't know. I thought in the watch along, I was a little disappointed by the second goal just because it came out of nowhere, and I didn't think Villa necessarily deserved it. But I did also say, like, what are we doing on the one before that? They did almost exactly the same thing on that set play, and I was like, well, we should learn our lesson, and we didn't. So I guess that's why we didn't deserve the 3 points. But I thought I was very impressed. Hendo deserves a lot of credit. He also made a really good save. Somehow, no rebound too in the first half on a shot that could have easily beat him. It was really well hit by Watkins. So I think he had a very good game.
After that first goal that we conceded, my mentality was that if we were going to concede a goal in the second half and drop points, let it be a goal where it's not something like what Lacroix done, because in my opinion, it was very poor, and that would have annoyed me if we conceded a similar goal to that, because he he left Watkins alone. He just pushed the man in front of him, but then forgot about Watkins, and there was a massive space there. And if we conceded another goal in that way, then I would
I
have
see
been
what you're saying.
much more upset. It's a set piece goal that we conceded. Yes, I know we struggled with set pieces over the past year or two, but we have improved under Glasner. We have improved under Glasner, so it's not something I'm overly worried about.
Yeah, it's
And
our first
for the large
concession
part-
this year. Yeah.
For the large part, they didn't really create that many. I mean, they had one they could have maybe put in.
I think the
It
good
was early in
chances
first
were in
half.
the first half. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
say that they
The
got
crowd-
most of their XG in the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, and the crowd done very well after that mistake as well, especially with stopping two massive chances for Villa. So it's just a small details. Of course, when you
Yeah.
look at the Fulham game and this game, it's you would like that to be solved sooner rather than later. But I guess these are just the bumps on the road, and hopefully we take rather do these mistakes now than down the line in the season, anyways, against Villa, because against Villa the expectations are not that high, anyways. It'll be more disappointing
Oh
if it
no.
was against opposition down the
The
table.
one thing I said at the beginning though was I thought when I looked at that back four for Villa, that's about as poor as I've seen that defense
Yeah, you
in
did.
terms of like where it's been, and the fact that they basically didn't play both of their starting fullbacks. You're probably right that that's because of Juventus. But yeah, I thought that Bogart especially, but also Matson were very they did nothing basically, just about. So yeah.
Well, it's quite funny you mentioned that because I think Saw terrified Matson so much he had to take him off. And then he sacrificed the booking, and I
Oh yeah,
reckon
the yellow
Emery was
card.
smart enough to
Yeah.
know- Emery was smart enough to know that if he stayed on the pitch, he would have got the red card for sure because he didn't know what to do with Saw. Saw was just having the time of his life with him. He was literally tearing him to shreds. And
I
this
agree.
that young left back is supposed to be the second coming. So, and what? How
Yeah.
much it costs? 30 million, 40 million pounds.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, well, I've said he's overrated. I don't see him as a consistent player week to week, but he does show glimpses of brilliance. I think he had one good cross I can remember today, but that's about it. Yeah, I think like Carlos and Torres, like you want to put Mateta against those two, like it's a long day for them. Because
and Saar as well.
he keeps him at an arm's length, and he knows how to hold on to the ball in ways that are kind of innovative. Because you don't really see a lot of other people holding up the way that Mateta does. Most of them kind of just body and stuff, but he does a lot of different things. He'll pass it into space to get it to himself. He's very creative, Mateta. So.
Yeah, he is. And
Tim, are you unmuted?
Is this mic better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that, guys.
No worries, no worries.
So, yeah, a lot of what Alex said there. I mean, justice for Max Lacroix, man. I get
Hell
that
yeah.
I get that he makes a mistake and he's got a mistake in him, but this guy, the recovery pace that he's got.
It's unbelievable.
It is incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible the number of interventions he made at timely moments in this game was absolutely outstanding. And he's making an argument for player of the season. If he keeps this up, he will continue to make an argument for player of the season, and he's still raw. His passing still is
Scares me.
he's got to work on it. He's got to work on it.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but he's
No.
got to work on it. But there's something I want to mention that I think is underrated and why I want to give Glasner so much credit for this game. I think he saw that how we got played through. I think Villa. What the hell? Why can't remember Villa's manager's name? Help me. Emery. Emery saw Fulham play through us, play through the midfield, and they had lots of joy in that match. It was very frustrating.
Yeah.
And this match, did you notice that we were overloaded in the midfield and they there were so many times when they tried and they kept trying to play through the midfield, and we
especially
get an
with
intervention
Decore. Yeah,
with Decore, with
Yeah.
Yuzi, even with Devenny, the fullbacks
Absolutely.
pulling up. There were tons of interventions. We turned the ball over and we're immediately on the break. That was crucial to forcing them to play down the wings and over the top. I do think, even though it's a disappointing result, forcing Villa to play a game that they did not want to play. They did not want to play the way that they played today.
Mhm.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And it gives me a lot of confidence. The last thing I would just mention on this is at the very end of the match, too, we kept the ball and
Oh,
saw that.
Munoz.
And
Yeah.
Munoz has a
Yeah.
chance, which we would have made this mistake earlier. Munoz is open and he has a chance to play the cutback ball to try to kill the game, but it's not quite there.
Right.
And so what does he do? He turns around, he plays it back, and we hold it till the final seconds and kill the game. That is maturity. That is, don't underrate that either. So
Yeah.
there's still more to do, but I was very pleased.
Yeah, and even Saar, he had an opportunity in the second half. I don't know if you remember, but the ball landed on his feet and he tried to volley it.
Right.
However, he just mistimed it. So it's not like we didn't have our opportunities to win the game, but I think context is very important here and how the game went as well. It's not a bad point in my opinion. Anyways, me going into the game, I would have loved the point. We scored 2 goals, which was good to see because I mean goals has been a major concern. The 2 goals that we conceded, the first one I think is avoidable. The second one, it happens regardless of how good you are with set pieces.
What about the Schlupp almost burying the winner?
I mean, bangers only.
Yeah, that would have been one.
No,
I
but
mean,
he
that's a
didn't. He
great
doesn't. He
save
doesn't
by
hit as
Martinez.
well as he does. But that is an incredible finger. I mean, to be fair, that is an incredible fingertip save by Martinez, because if not, that is going in the bottom corner.
No question.
Yeah, it is. But look, a lot of positives from this game. Hopefully against Newcastle, we'll build on it. But look, thank you both for the watch along as well, and I'll catch up with you again.
Absolutely.
All right, then. All right, then. Take care.
Palace.
See you later.
Up the Palace.
That's Tim and Alex having their say. Of course, they want to watch along today. So thanks to every single one of you that's tuned in. If you want to see their live reactions from the watch along, you can head over there as well. Let's bring on Jack, who's been waiting for a while. Jack.
Hi guys, you okay?
Draw against Villa. Are you happy with the point?
Oh mate, I'm over the moon. Absolutely over the moon. I had zero expectation going into the game, but it's just typical Palace to come out and fight for our lives like that. I think. I want to touch on quite a few comments that people have made today. I think what everyone said is totally correct about, we did have improvements, but to analyze it a little bit further, I think 2 things really is Decore coming back provides so much balance. That's one thing that I feel like I and others have been talking about for weeks on end now, is balance. I think that's been our main issue. But along with that, allowed Glasner to make the slight change. Now, from what someone said earlier, is Devenny was playing a little bit maybe deeper, a little bit more narrow than your typical 10. That was his position. And I think when we was on the front foot, he did carry width and he did, sit in more of a 10 position. But when it transitioned and we were out of possession, we did tend to fall into more of a 5-3-2. So Saar would, Devenny would come into a 3 with Decore and Hughes, which allowed Saar to come more narrow, which in turn allowed Mateta's hold-up play. Because if he's playing one up top and he's not got anyone playing off the back of him, it's hard to do anything. But his game was so effective because he had Saar he was allowing him to actually take the ball and have an option going forward. So I think it's a bit of a masterclass really, because no one saw Devenny starting. And I think the way that he played and the balance of the team was just spot on today.
Yeah. Do you know what? Sorry, Jack, you were onto something there. So do we think having a more solid defensive midfielders even back into the team enabled Devenny the freedom to kind of get himself involved in the game and get forward. And obviously, in this example, get the goal, but more essentially have a little bit more of a feel for the pitch and kind of get more into his positioning today.
Yeah, which I've been honestly trying to wrap my brain over it, because in like previous conversations that I've had, it's almost like it's similar to the way Ebbs plays, because Ebbs likes to come deep and pick up the ball, but it never seems to work. Which I was trying to scramble my head and think, why is that the case? But Ebbs is obviously going to tend to take up more of a wide position, but with the width and narrowness that we had today, you saw. I'm speaking about how effective each player was, because it gave Mitchell down the left so much space to drive forward. He wasn't blocked by anyone. He wasn't sure if Devenny was going to be going wide and long or short and narrow. He didn't have the issue of having to guess that game. He knew exactly what he was going to get. The left-hand side was open as well as the right. And I think, like you say, he had the freedom because we've got the balance now. In when we dropped back and we didn't have the ball, he was kind of like the third man in the midfield. But then going forward, if we do catch him on the break, he's deep, which allows Mitchell to go forward. Mateta holds up the ball, and then he's also got Sarr running off the back of him. So I just think it is strange, because when Ebbs inevitably comes back into the team, I mean, he's not going to drop him, is he? I would like to see how that works, because the balance has been unsettled, and I don't know if that is Ebbs himself or just multiple different factors. But I do think that ingredient was found today. For sure, I think all over the pitch it was good, but key areas that we struggled in recently, we actually, massively improved with that today.
Yeah, and I think Decore played a big part as well today, as you mentioned. Devenny, Decore, the balance was there in midfield, and I think Decore added a lot. He done the simple things, but it was massive. Even for the second goal, the pass he took his time. He didn't play it first time. He took his time, then went around the player to the left of the player, I think, and then played the pass like that, because there was a bigger chance of the pass going through like that. And he's so composed. And the thing that excites me the most, the thing that has excited me the most, even before the season started, is to see Decore and Wharton together. And hopefully everyone stays fit, but in a few weeks' time, we could see that. And that midfield then is going to look very exciting, because you have two ball-playing midfielders who can ping out them passes like Decore, like Wharton can. And then you have the likes of Eze or whoever it is in front of him and Sarr. And I think we create more opportunities like that. So I think things are looking a bit more positive, Jack, even though we're still in the relegation zone.
100%. Like, I think he does so much dirty work, Decore, but he does it under the radar, because he's in the right place at the right time. Positionally, he's so mature, but he's so calm under pressure, which allows, even Hughes, I feel like you always get the best out of Hughes when he's got that strong physical presence next to him, and allows him to kind of, peel off and play more tactically, I suppose. He's got good technical ability, Decore, but I just think it allows Hughes to thrive. So I think when we get Wharton back, he's hell of a player, and we haven't seen, half of what he was last season. So I think I'm at this point, I'm not even looking at the table. You're going to get jib from everyone around you for your position, but I think it's too early to be concerned. I mean, my main concern is Glasner's job, which I'm really happy that he's managed to peel a point back today, because I think the Premier League is ruthless, and we don't want to lose our manager, because he's class. He's class, and I know certain things haven't gone well. But the business in the window will be interesting, I think. I don't know if I saw on Twitter somewhere like França was, Glasner was saying that França was obviously going to be a key ingredient to our attack this season, and it's not played out. So I think we do still need to focus on that kind of right side if we are going to persist with how we've played prior to today. Because I just think it's inevitable that Ebbs is going to come back and we are going to see a different kind of style again. So I think it's all stuff to improve on. I mean, I'm just over the moon at that point. It feels like 3 points today.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is you get that point, and then that Decore hopefully going forward, maybe next week can play maybe 75 minutes rather than 60 minutes. And then you might have Eze as an option. So it's looking more positive in that regards as well, because before the Fulham, right before the Fulham game, it was like, who's going to be playing midfield? What's going to be happening? Who can play where? Who's going to be coming off the bench? But now after that, it's like, all right, cool. We have something now to build on. And hopefully against Newcastle, we build on that as well, because it'll be kind of annoying if we have a terrible performance, terrible result straight after this game, because now we just have to be a bit more consistent.
Yeah. And that helps our confidence players as well. You know, I think for the large part, Ebbs is obviously a confidence player. Like he's got all of the ability, but you see, like back in the last season when we're 2-3 goals comfortably in the lead, like you get the best out of Ebbs when he's comfortable and he's got his momentum. And as someone touched on with Sarr, he's obviously a confidence player, because I mean, I said in my on my kind of bio to this call, like, is he going to finish his dinner tonight? Because I say it lighthearted. I know he got a goal, but it's if Glasner can improve Sarr's end products, then you've got a hell of a player there. But just a few times today, you know, you can look back now and think, oh, it doesn't matter because we've got something from the game. But on other days, there would be a lot of discussions about how off his final touch was, his, you know, simple 2-3 yard passes. But that's not to look at today. That's the beauty of football. But hopefully we can find some momentum, because that's going to help us massively.
Yeah. Look, Jack, great call once again. Hopefully we catch up with you after the Newcastle game, and yeah, as you said, things are looking a bit more positive as well. So thank you.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Yeah, cheers, Jack, mate.
That was Jack having his say, and on that note, we are going to wrap up. Thanks to everyone who's left in their comments, as well as calling into the show live. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe. Sorry for the late start today, but we are back. Palace are back. We are back as well. We've done good job this week. Opposition preview, watch along, reaction, match preview. So next week, well, we're planning to introduce Palace news again. So there'll be more Palace content coming in, especially with the window starting. It's going to be busy. The games are coming thick and fast. So we will be here. But that's it from me and AJ. And until next time, up the Palace.